like will be up in just 1 second. Too bad it was a slow news weekend and we won't have much to talk about. We're just going to jump straight in and get started. I'm just going straight to this. Hi, everybody. Joining me this morning on Hal Sparks Mornings Mega Worldwide, the greatest live stream that exists on the internet. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Patreon.com/Hal Sparks. What else do I say? Oh, yes, the Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide, where Hal Sparks comes to Hal Sparks like no one else can Hal Sparks and speaks about Hal Sparks in the third person because apparently, as dumb as that tactic it actually works. So joining me right now is, I got to say, the Cliff Schecter of Cliff Schechters, if I do say so my damn self.
The best damn Cliff Schecter out there.
Absolutely. If you want the best Cliff Schecter for your money, this is the Cliff Schecter you want. Host of Cliff's Edge on YouTube.
Unless you're Egypt, I can't be bought off that easily.
No, that's right. Yeah, that's
the best Cliff Schecter for your money is me. Yes.
Right. The
Sorry, go ahead. You were promoting my YouTube when I interrupted you.
I was. Yeah. YouTube.com/@Cliffs_Edge. The URL is right down there. While you're at it, subscribe to both of us. It doesn't honestly. You're not cheating on another channel if you do it. I know that some folks seem to think that there's like, if I subscribe to this channel, my subscription to this other channel means less. That's not how it works on social media anywhere. And no one cares.
We're not like Don Jr. with that Bethany woman, instead of Fish Face, his girlfriend who's on her 14th face. It's not like that.
And that brings up an important question right out of the gate. And obviously, we're going to get to the big news this morning about how another one of Trump's voters took a poke at him over the weekend. But and a guy who was involved in a Russian psyop to pretend to be getting Afghan and Syrian fighters to come and fight in Ukraine against Russia. And meanwhile, is a Hillary Vivek Ramaswamy ticket voter. Like, obviously. Anyways, besides that.
Right. And he likes Tulsi a lot.
If your girlfriend is on her third face, are you really cheating on her, or are you just cheating on the most recent face?
Wow, that is, now you're getting into philosophy.
Schecter, go.
I mean, I knew you were a smart guy, Hal, and a funny guy, but I mean, these are sort of like Lockean questions. So we need some of the greats here to kind of really answer that one for us. I mean, I think, therefore I am, but what if I think, therefore I am, but my other face is over there. Right. So maybe that face is not thinking, but this one is. So if you kiss this one, are you cheating on that one?
Well, and again, is indeed the Trump philosophy, I don't think, therefore I am. I overreact, therefore I am. Am I my thoughts, Cliff Schecter, or am I my emotional response to attacks on my ego? Who am I?
Exactly. And if you've rejected Christian morality like Nietzsche, okay?
Sure.
Does that mean because you obviously, God is dead and we've killed him, and
right.
we have risen, we're going to rise above that fake Christian morality, which is, of course, is what Donald Trump does. Does that mean when you do that and you hook up, let's say, with a porn star during Shark Week, hopefully there are no batteries around.
Sure.
Then,
well, if she intends
really
to experience
cheating?
any pleasure, there better be. Anyways.
yeah, there'd have to be a battery there.
There's definitely batteries
enjoy
involved.
Old mushroom boy there. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
okay, that's all the philosophy I can handle this morning.
I understand.
I've covered
It's
all the
a
books
lot.
I read. So
it's a lot. And chat room, you guys know this better than anyone. I have to say, there's a running thing. Let me fix this real quick because I was behind this morning and just kind of chasing down. They arraigned Routh this morning. The no relation, by the way, this Ryan Routh guy to Brandon Routh, the first Superman from Superman Returns. Lovely fellow.
Thank you, by the way, for saying, well, obviously for saying that because there's no, but I was trying to think where I saw that name before.
Yes,
Brandon
Routh.
Where have I seen? Okay.
Hold on. Hold on. Let me. I'm going to clear the logo. I had the wrong name up for you. There we go. Now I always have to wait until it wakes up to do that. This hi chat room. By the way, I just wanted to be able to say hi to all you guys in the midst of all this craziness. And I just realized that we don't have Cliff, and this is an unfortunate failure on my part. I hadn't previously put your URL thing that I made for you, your lower third, on this page so that we could look at the news together when it comes up, and especially on a.
Well, that hurts my feelings.
Well, I mean, it's important. I'll tell you why too. No. It's because you and I end up having such like nonstop conversations. There's not a whole lot of reason to do any of that.
Good point.
We're already chit-chatty enough before we start introducing news points. But I will say primarily that so yesterday I gotta say I met the news of another Trump assassination attempt with a huge eye roll, and it was completely justified. Like everything that started to come out about it, I was like, yep, okay, yeah, okay. Sorry, he's a nut who, by the way,
you expected, right?
If it wasn't for Donald Trump signing an order that allowed people with mental illness to have a gun, he never would have had one. If it hadn't been,
let me be clear. Yeah. Okay, let me let you go through your points, and then I'll tell people more specifics on that one. Go ahead.
My favorite irony point. Yeah, I'm sure you'll have a lot of the same ones I do. But my favorite irony point that maybe wasn't spotted was that this guy was arrested for a myriad of things. He ran from a traffic stop, held himself up inside of his roofing company, and was arrested for having, I think, a bomb. So he was charged with possession of a weapon of mass destruction. During the Bush administration,
this was back in 2002. Right?
Yeah. The Bush administration is looking for a reason to go into Iraq, and they really had a good reason to go into North Carolina, and it was this dude who took a poke at Trump. Or tried.
Apparently, unlike in Iraq, where there was just a little bit of powder left over from getting rid of the weapons of mass destruction, there was one there. Yeah, that's right, the yellow cake. The good old yellow cake excuse. And now Dick Cheney's on our side. Let's not get into it before I get pissed.
You're right. Yeah, me too.
The point I wanted to make is that, and I brought this up here before at other places, this was the issue that I worked on most closely for years, right? My biggest, when I was really doing most of my PR on political issues, first Mayors Against Illegal Guns, and then they became Every Town for Gun Safety, the one that Bloomberg started, was my biggest client. Okay, so I was doing a ton of work there. And to do that effectively, you have to learn a lot about this issue. So when you brought up the fact that Donald Trump, he signed an executive order when I think it was the first thing he did in office. Yeah. And this wasn't just mentally ill folks, dangerously mentally ill folks. These were people that were so mentally ill, they were not trusted to handle their own Social Security checks. So their Social Security checks needed to be sent to someone else because they couldn't be trusted if you sent it to them that they would put it in the bank. I mean, we're talking about people that were just not capable in any way of managing their own lives.
Right.
And again, so that's the first thing. The second thing is when you bring up all these past charges, the biggest thing I always say when there's a mass shooting, when there's a school shooting, anything like that is, let's go together. What were the red flags? Because there always were.
Right.
What were the things that came up during the way that in any normal country, any normal democracy, whose priorities are keeping our citizens safe, not making gun dealers happy or letting people, let anybody own any crazy weapon they want or whatever, or kids living and other people living is the priority, then this is the sort of person who, even in a country that allows personal ownership of firearms, because some democracies do not, United Kingdom, Japan, but some do, which is who we could be like, Canada, Switzerland, the Scandinavian countries, and they all have all of these laws in places besides bans on assault weapons and licensing and registration, background checks, red flag laws, all that. You have to do mental health checks regularly. That kind of they have all the things in place that this stuff would have popped up on a screen when this guy tried to buy a gun, and it would have been illegal for him to even try. So he probably would have been arrested and put in some sort of a facility even for trying to buy a gun. In this country, no problem. And so it's not even that, how do you get access to the gun? We're not trying. There are certain states that are trying harder than others. And that's why you'll look. And if you look, you will see almost to a T, blue states and states controlled by Democrats have lower gun violence rates than Republican ones. It's just a fact of life. Because
my favorite one is
guns still
cross
state lines. I'm sorry?
My favorite one is Viktor Orban, the tough guy, strong man who Trump really likes or whatever, who has runs a country that has the strongest gun laws in the entire EU. And the rules, second only to Russia.
I was going to say, Russia created their whole fake NRA group with Maria Butina, and that was all about a psyop to send her here, empower the NRA, give them Russian money, undercut Democrats and everything else. But while they were doing that, of course, they weren't loosening their own gun laws one bit. But the truth is you bring up some of those countries, and then that some of the right wingers will then jump in and be like, you see, like Hitler had the toughest gun laws, which he didn't, by the way. But the truth of the matter is Japan has just as tough gun laws as those two countries that you just brought up. Try getting a firearm and going through. It will take you years. You will have to go through written tests. You will have to go through performance tests. You will have to get mental health checks. You will have to get physical checks. Like, to own a gun that's why in Japan, a country that I think has roughly half of our population, something like that, they have seriously single-digit gun deaths every year.
Right.
They had one bad year, I think, a couple of years ago. They were 18. I mean, I'm just saying, and again, it's not to say that we need to be them, but if we were even Canada, who's a country that allows private ownership but does all the things a responsible country would do, this dude never gets his hands on a gun, never gets close to getting his hands on a gun. We don't try. In fact, the Republicans actively underfund, hamstring, and do everything else to the Department of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms so that they can't trace guns. Because they don't want them to do it right. So these are all important factors here when the right yells, oh, well, the left. No, you guys, your Supreme Court declared an individual right, which never existed before. Your guy, Donald Trump, said that people that were dangerously mentally ill could have guns. Your Congress refuses to pass background checks, has blocked it, has filibustered it, and other measures like an assault weapons ban. You created this, or as Obama said back in the day, you built this. Yeah. That's why we're here. And you also yell about mental health whenever this stuff happens. And then when the lights go down, you cut mental health. So we spend less than other countries on that while we allow more people to have guns. What do you think the effect of those two things are going to be?
Yeah, by the way, in case you're wondering, not a Haitian immigrant. Letting you know, just looking at this dude, not exactly, if you ask people demographically, which voting group this guy belongs to. And obviously a Trump voter in 2016, according to him, was trying to recruit Vivek Ramaswamy to join Nikki Haley in an alternative Republican slate. At some point,
big fan of Tulsi.
Which okay, so this is the really confusing part to me, and it might just be that he's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but and it also might be that he's being paid. He's being paid to be part of a Russian psyop. Showing
or
up.
Just he's being he's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. The Russians saw his stuff online, reached out, manipulated him. Yeah.
Right. Because I don't know how you try to recruit Tulsi Gabbard, and Vivek Ramaswamy together, and then go after Trump because he's not pro-Ukraine enough. Like, they're further down the road, because at least he's trying to, he's at least doing the politis-speak around it. We know what he's going to do, but he's not, he's not being open about what he would,
it makes you more suspicious, just the fact that that's the reason given. That sounds a lot like a Russian psyop. I'm just going to say, I'm sorry, and it could just be mental illness, that he says one thing and doesn't know what he's saying 1 minute and another thing another minute. But clearly he liked the people on the right, even when he became dissatisfied with Trump. The other people he supported were on the right, a massive anti-vax conspiracist, and that is a province completely of the far right. Right? I mean, the people that were on the far left who were anti-vax, Robert Kennedy and whatever, went over there because
Marianne Williamson just posts her support of Haitian voodoo is real, therefore whatever. Which, by the way, I'm not the first person to say this, but voodoo does not involve eating cats or pets for food at all. Like, even when you're talking about like this like racist conspiracy theory that somehow in Springfield, Ohio, the Haitians that escaped, they're still doing voodoo in and of itself.
Which is why they should go back to Venezuela, as Donald Trump said, because those are the same places.
Right, yes. The Haitian migrants should go back to Venezuela. He's going to deport them to Venezuela.
They always get the facts right. That's what I like the most about them, yeah.
Well, it's, and again, Donald Trump, his last act in office, besides pardons, was to put a moratorium on deportations of Venezuelans for a year and a half, which not only didn't start their deportation process until that year and a half mark, but put them at the back of the line behind an already backed up system, guaranteeing them, at least 6 years in the country using the standard at the time. But then tell me how Venezuelan crime has gone down or some nonsense. It's so weird.
I mean, again, like if you just sort of get to the point that where you accept that they lie about everything all the time, and that's what Donald Trump does anyhow. So he's sort of perfect for Putin and for Russia because that's how they get you. They don't just lie in one direction. They're all over the place, so you can't determine truth because they know they win if you can't figure out what the truth is. So Donald Trump's perfect that way because he lies about everything, and sometimes within a day he's changed his position and lied both times. So the other guys take the cues from him. So these absolute soulless pieces of dung, these empty husks like J.D. Vance, will go out there like he did on Sunday, and oh my God, Dana Bash actually fact checked him. And just make up and basically admit that he's lying. Well, I think it's important that because the media doesn't pay attention, that we have to tell these stories so people will. So what you're saying is you don't think the media pays enough attention to your narrative about immigrants, so you think it's then acceptable to make up like blood libel against them, which is what this essentially is, right? It used to be Jews are eating your babies. This isn't far off from that.
And it's not new.
It's in the same family.
Yeah, Asians eat your cats. Koreans will eat your dog. That shit's been around for a long time. So for those of you just playing catch up, apparently 2 o'clock local time, Trump was playing golf at West Palm Beach, which I love the whole like, how'd they know? Like Charlie Kirk's whole thing was like, how do they know? Like, motherfucker, what else is he doing? He's either in Mar-a-Lago or he's golfing. And if his motorcade goes there, you can see it from fucking space. And thirdly, in West Palm Beach, there are only 3 places Trump goes: Mar-a-Lago, his own golf course, which is between a gun range and a prison. Do you see how he buys these fucking places on the cheap? He buys what other? All right, whatever. And the third place is Jeffrey Epstein's mansion. Donald Trump has never lived more than a 9-minute cab ride from Jeffrey Epstein in whatever place he calls home.
Right, and the only way you could get it wrong and be like, you'd be like, shit, I screwed up, is he was at the Doral that day playing golf instead, or Bedminster, or you got the golf club, that he was at wrong, but you know that's what he's doing.
Right.
Is he's just out there playing golf because for some reason, even though he cheats and he sucks at it, he seems to like playing golf. I guess he gets to ride a little cart around and that makes him feel good.
Right, exactly. So there is a mixed story, I would say, about what actually, how it all went down. Because I heard even this morning that there was that a good Samaritan spotted him and alerted, kind of like the guys that saw the shooter on the roof.
Yes.
Right. They alerted Secret Service. They spotted him, and then they fired at him. And then he ran away, leaving all of his gear in an easily photographable spot.
And he had a lot of professional gear. That makes you wonder, too, who's behind him. Because, man, like a GoPro camera, all that stuff I was reading about, I was like, where did he get all this? And
he had, so instead of having flak jackets, he had ceramic tile inside a backpack, which is the poor man's body armor, is the theory.
Can we ask this too? But
he wasn't wearing it.
A fact that
so he was.
I'm sorry.
That he wasn't wearing it. It looked like he was using it as a barricade. So you tell him there, you have ceramic tile, you put it down there, and then you can. Again, this is somebody who watched a lot of YouTube videos trying to figure out how to do this.
No, I haven't seen too much. There have been different reports. It hasn't been consistent. But again, my question is, have we definitively determined that Trump was the one he was going for too?
As opposed to Witkoff?
As opposed to, I hate the Secret Service because they didn't protect Trump last time, so I'm going to get the Secret Service. Or I hate Melania, maybe she'll be with him. Or again, we're talking about an insane person.
Right.
So I'm not trying to say, I'm not trying to say here, no big deal, he wasn't going for Trump. I'm just trying to say, do we know 100%?
No, we don't. We do not. It is not cut and dry either. That's the,
right.
And
he may have thought he was an avenging angel for Trump and that he was going to get somebody else or, again, I'm not saying
if they're
that's
not going
true.
to protect him,
I have no idea.
Right. He's setting up his own sniper's nest to protect Trump from whoever. Right. And then when the Secret Service fired on him, he runs away. Like, all of these are plausible with a nutcase, especially one who voted for Trump in 2016. And again, somebody's like, he's trying to take out Loomer. No, she's only allowed in the guest bedroom or whatever, in Melania's room, at all the sites.
There's a direct underground passage that takes her there. And she...
Yes, it wants it to blowjobs. It wants it.
She's so repulsive.
So gross.
I do. Although really, when I saw that she said if Trump was convicted that she would chain herself to Rikers like she did to Twitter, I was sort of like, well, isn't that motivation enough?
Right.
If she wants to, just let her chain herself to Rikers and leave her there.
Yeah.
Okay.
At
least you don't have to see her on TV or hear her crap. make sure she doesn't have a phone so she can't tweet.
Right, like Steve Bannon. Give her Steve Bannon's cell.
Exactly.
Okay, there's a myriad of details, and they always keep moving on this kind of thing. And I think it's largely because there is no singular detail. Neither side of the political spectrum wants to or will claim this idiot, and nor does he reckon.
No.
Right? Nor does he. The biggest problem I keep seeing is the they issue. They tried to kill him again. They tried to kill him again.
Right.
Glenn Beck was doing it. Bongholio was doing it.
You knew they would do it, right?
Yes.
This is they're getting their asses kicked right now. They know it. They're losing.
Mm-hmm.
A poll came out that showed them only up 4 in Iowa. Mm-hmm. And again, if it was one of the most accurate pollsters, Ann Selzer, and if you follow all this closely, and you saw also the Ipsos one that had Kamala up, finally taking debate media saturation into account, not the bullshit they put out right afterwards that doesn't tell you, because people haven't had time to watch, rewatch, watch viral clips, read newspapers or see headlines, see cable clips, all the kind, talk to each other at work. And, she's up a solid 6-7 points at this point. Well, he's not doing so well. right now.
Right.
So if he really is only up 4 in Iowa, then there's other, I mean, and it makes sense because there are polls showing it closer in Texas and Florida and Ohio, and it would be if Iowa's 4. Well, then they're getting their asses handed to them, and so anything that can turn it into they're trying to kill him, and and to try to get sympathy. Meanwhile, I'm like, listen, I don't believe in killing anybody.
Right.
And I am anti all of that, and I don't want Trump. I want Trump to spend his life in prison for the crimes he's committed. But if I were that type of person, Trump's the weakest candidate I can possibly think of. I don't want him gone, so they put somebody else in there who's actually sane. Are you crazy?
Well, and that goes to that Alex Jones theory, where that seems to be the timing by which crooks fired upon Trump. Is this idea that we love his ideas, but he's an imperfect candidate, and he was even. I don't care what Trump says about being up in the polls. He was even with Biden both before and after the debate. And it was going to tighten, and then Biden was more than likely going to move ahead, and he was going to win the fall election, no question.
Biden still had in the aggregators that look at everything, that don't just let one stupid poll mislead them, that look at economy, incumbency, other factors like that, still had a slight advantage even after that debate. Yeah,
and considering how that debate was, that's amazing, and that freaked Trump out and all this. And Alex Jones and that crowd were all saying that as an imperfect candidate, there's plenty of MAGA folks out there that are young, more spry, and I think J.D. Vance was in the selection crowd of people that they were thinking of when they talked about this shit, even with his previous Trump criticisms. That if you martyr the dude, get rid of him, we can put in somebody even better, and he goes down, in MAGA sainthood. And then all of a sudden, we got two of these assholes trying to take a poke at him. I mean, the odd thing about Trump and all of his flagrant, blathery, stochastic terrorism he throws everywhere, that a lot of his own side seems to be ginning up the desire to take him out. Because, again, that's where Crooks was leaning, it seems.
Nick Fuentes has been attacking him constantly. Right. And, I mean, look, again, there was a point in time where someone like me who worked, has done work for presidential candidates and Senate candidates and worked on every part of this crazy business, would see something like, what's the one? What was the one with Kevin Spacey? The crazy show where he was the president,
House of Cards.
And thank you, House of Cards. And you'd see something like the reporter getting pushed in front of the subway and all of that, or the metro or the DC, and you'd be like, at that time, I remember thinking that's insane, that could never happen. And everything that's happened in the last decade, I mean, basically the Americans became reality TV. Yeah. So as far as I'm concerned, there is no conspiracy anymore that is too nutty to consider. I mean, there are some too nutty. Yes, an alien didn't come down from fucking Jupiter and do it.
Right.
Okay? But point being that these guys would pull something like that, absolutely within the realm of possibility. I'll be clear. I don't share conspiracy and bullshit like them. I have zero evidence of it. I'm simply saying to dismiss that that's a possibility in this era is a mistake.
Right. And the difference between this guy and Crooks, obviously, is that we will be hearing from him at some point. He will either, I don't know what his plea was. He just made an initial, bond hearing or whatever. I'm sure he's going to enter a plea. But he's a convicted felon. So he's, and again, the gun is not in his material possession. It'll have his fingerprints on it, obviously, unless he was wearing gloves or whatever. Right. It's got he was also charged with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon and possession of a firearm with an obliterated serial number because he had tried to scratch out the serial number.
Scratch it off.
Yeah, on this AK-47 that he had, which and whether it was full auto or semi-auto is up for debate. I have not seen anything in a confirmed source that says it had been converted to fully auto or anything like that. He clearly, and I'll show you the little nest that he made for himself. And again, I'm not going to go with immediately he was planning on shooting at Trump even at this point.
Right, that's what I was saying earlier. Again, I need to hear facts.
Right, he may have thought that the Secret Service is not doing enough to cover the president, and therefore I'm going to be the guy. And so here's his GoPro right here on the screen. That's what that is. It's clipped onto the fence. These are two, is like a tote bag and a backpack, both with ceramic tile in them, a couple of pieces of ceramic tile, making like poor man's body armor that he probably wore over around his neck and then draped so he could create a sniper's nest. And then this is the gun with a scope on it. Now, I will say that it is very hard to attach a scope of this size to a handgun, and that an assault weapons ban would have made this situation, would have nullified this circumstance entirely. Of course. Just say it.
Which is why, again, we have plenty of evidence now that the assault weapons ban, while it was in effect, from 1994 to 2004, the mass shootings had dropped an enormous, and they went way up afterwards. And there are other factors there too, but this is a factor.
So there are more charges coming against this guy. Apparently, that he was initially charged. I don't know if they've indicted him on them. They're, the other two they for sure have. There are more to come. But he allegedly pointed his gun at the Secret Service guys. Now, if he's downrange and he's on this golf course down past it, and they're walking towards him, you can see how the gun was rested in the like almost using the chain link fence as a stabilizer. It's pointed in their direction.
That's absolutely what you do. You use it to get your
Yeah, and then so they fired on him and he ran away. No question, no word on whether it struck one of these things and that's why it didn't hit him, or they just dropped and fired and he was far enough away. They didn't get close enough where, again, they were in range enough to do that. That said, most Secret Service guys can shoot on the move. So I'm guessing it might have been that he was blocked. And it's a handgun, and they were far enough away. But he ran away. He got into a car, and he drove. Let's see if there's a map up here. He drove from the Trump International Golf Club, right between the strip club and the prison, which is over here near Mar-a-Lago, which is right, if you look right up, see where this square is, where Mar-a-Lago is? If you go 1/8 of a square up from that square, up the street, that's where Jeffrey Epstein's house is, just so you know.
Maybe he was headed there next.
Well, no, he drove past it. Maybe he was going to Ghislaine Maxwell's condo.
I'm being an idiot.
Yeah. He drove he drove by and waved on his way out of town because apparently got in his car and he drove up here and he was pulled over about 45 minutes away from that area over here. With relatively without incident. I mean, he seemed kind of like low energy, dead inside when they pulled him over because he's insane and has no attachment to his actions, I would guess. Right? Biden said, Biden's official word was, one thing I want to make clear is the Secret Service needs more help. President Biden told reporters this morning, referring to the Secret Service, and I think Congress should respond to their need. So he laid it off on the Republicans and their budget stuff. And if they pass a budget, they could add more money for the Secret Service, couldn't they? But they're not going to.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, and he said, "Thank God the president."
They'll bring up these issues. They'll demagogue. They'll have like they did the last time around. Hawley and Ted Cruz and that same group of pathetic ghouls. They'll invite the heads of Secret Service people in high positions to scream at them on camera. But they won't do anything to address it.
Megyn Kelly is already all over it. Like Megyn Kelly, of all people, like. The woman who was sexually harassed, sexually harassed out of Fox is now just like all in for this fucker, and he's the one. Yeah, he's the one who personally insulted her, and the blood coming out of her. Whatever, yeah, right.
That comment about her. I mean, he made a disgusting comment about her. Roger Ailes and all these folks at Fox treated her horrendously, and so what does she do? Proving that she also has no soul, is she decides she wants to, once she gets fired by NBC because God forbid there be a black Santa and things of that nature, she goes and becomes a right-wing culture warrior.
Yeah. She snapped, I guess, in that regard. But I
gotta say, she's lost her mind. I mean, she was screaming the other day about Taylor Swift and losing her mind. So she's
sure. Well, the DOJ is going to announce this week further charges in the RT investigation about money going into right-wing media, politicians in the United States. So there's a lot of flop sweat happening at the Blaze and Ron Johnson's office. And, in Matt Gaetz's office, you know what I mean? And so all those, all those guys are going to
Paul family has probably charted a way to depart the United States at this point.
Yeah. They've got a bug out
They're
plan.
going to go in Steven Seagal's place in Russia, in Moscow.
Right. Or on Peter Thiel's oil rig. Tealistan, the monarchy of Tealistan.
Right.
But, yeah, so let's see if I can bring that up. There you go. New crackdown on Russian disinformation in 2024 election. That was the most recent one. But they're going to do another one on Friday, which will release more information about it after the And here's the other thing, too. The first two people indicted in this was the Afnasavaya or whatever, the woman that was from RT.
Good luck. Yeah.
And then Konstantin Kalashnikov, which is where AK-47 gets its name.
Right.
That's what it is. That's a Kalashnikov gun. So this guy
is
tries
he from
to take
the family?
In the Russian, yes. The Konstantin Kalashnikov, yes. That's
I remember reading
indictment.
at some point the one who invented the original one apologized for it and felt terrible for it.
Sure.
He thought it would prevent war because it was so destructive, and instead it just killed more people.
Yeah,
So
and I gotta say,
little...
for the availability of the AR-15 or whatever, and how easy it is to get on, at a straw purchase at a gun show, this guy who supposedly is all pro-Ukraine and anti-Russia is going to shoot at Trump with a Kalashnikov?
Huh? There's all sorts of nutty shit going on.
A lot of hinky shit. Right. It's super weird. By the way, you're watching / listening to Hal Sparks Mornings Megaworldwide. This is Cliff Schechter. He's got a live stream, youtube.com at Cliff's Edge. He puts up videos as well, and you might want to check it out. I'm just saying. And then, of course, patreon.com / Hal Sparks. So, and Tara, I guess, is Tara going to be on with us on the second hour? I believe so. I think so. I hope so, because I'm sure she'll have a thing or two to say about a thing or two. That said, all over, I guess the biggest statement we're hearing from the right is that, is they / the deep state tried to do it again.
Right.
And I'm like, I got to tell you, if you're trying to make me scared of the deep state, then how come they keep missing? I mean, I'm not for it.
They're
this is
really a bad
advocating.
deep state. They're not good at stuff.
Right. I mean, as a matter of fact, this doesn't sound like the production of the deep state Illuminati world-running, super computer owning, volcano layer, Bohemian Grove crowd. It doesn't. You know who it sounds like? It sounds like the same
island with
It sounds like a production by the same people who could bankrupt a casino.
Yeah.
This is brought to you by Trump Steaks.
I've always pointed that out. I mean, people literally walk into a casino and hand you money for nothing.
Right.
And he found a way to bankrupt that fucking place.
So I'm dead serious.
He's an art.
Who the fuck? And again, if this is the deep state and they keep trying, well, I got news for you. I'm not worried. The deep state apparently is a ham-fisted group of morons, right?
I mean, they must be. You know what I mean? I mean, they're failing at all sorts of things,
right?
That they're trying to accomplish, right?
Well,
don't they and the Rothschilds want to control the world economy just for a couple people? And here we are in the United States creating all sorts of jobs and raising wages and everybody and having a great economy. So they're failing at that too,
right?
What the hell are they up to?
I know, but my favorite thing about Trump recently is they're gonna just wait. The economy's gonna go to shit any day now. It hasn't yet because of Biden's, because that's what Biden wants to do. They're destroying our country. They're doing it on purpose. That's what he keeps saying. They're doing it on purpose. Well, what the fuck are they waiting for? How easy would it have been to destroy? Right. How easy? Really, seriously, thinking this through. I know. It's beyond thinking in some ways. But, it is. If the deep state if we're supposed to be scared of the deep state, how can they miss twice? It's just silly. And secondly, if Biden wanted to destroy the country and that's what they want to do, COVID was perfect. COVID, he could have kept us in Afghanistan bleeding $300 million a day, right? We could have just bled money into that place, never leave like Trump did, which, again, set Putin and everybody else up because we would, we had our military depleted because we were using a lot of that gear over there.
He could have made Trump the Secretary of the Treasury if he really wanted to fuck us up.
Sure.
I'm just saying.
He had a lot of options. Right.
Yep.
And I got to say, like, if he wanted it to collapse, he could have just done it during COVID, during the beginning of COVID. Well, there's nothing we can really do. We've got to turn this into a communist country and control everything. Authoritarian. Right. We have to, I don't care what anybody says. We don't give a fuck.
Considering he got all the shots in the
vaccine
arms,
passports,
and then people could go back to work with his stimulus, and then passed a bipartisan bill that Donald Trump talked about every week, which was every week was infrastructure week. He got it done. There's 2 bridges here. You may know something about it. Well, one of them connects us to northern Kentucky. And now there aren't pieces of it falling in the water, and I can actually drive across it without thinking that I'm going to go on a Dukes of Hazzard ride, like straight down into the fucking Ohio River. So they fixed all sorts of infrastructure with this bill that even, of course, the Chamber of Commerce supported because it was huge economic development and supported creating a ton of jobs. And then, of course, they passed the Inflation Reduction Act and spent a ton, the most in the history of our country in terms of preventing climate change or these mitigation measures and clean energy and that kind of thing, and brought inflation well below where it is in most of the West. And I mean, they're really doing a bad job of fucking this country up. I'm waiting for the obviously inevitable because Trump tells me, and I have to believe him, the inevitable just crash of everything. But it hasn't happened yet.
And I'll tell you, like, on a couple of fronts, and he brought this up, this 818,000 jobs that weren't really made and blah, 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 and that the Biden administration rigged it to make things look good, which is weird because it's, if anything, if you're going to believe there's some sort of conspiracy in this situation, the conspiracy would be people inside the Trump organization built up the numbers so they knew they could pull the rope later, or people who working in the BLS who, had been with the Trump administration decided that they were going to, we'll set them up, we'll knock them down.
People's expectations up, and then you
then crash and go say, we told you so. And, that makes more sense than, no, they're just waiting for the perfect time to wreck us. You know what? They've decided, we're not going to do it while Biden's in office, even though that's supposedly why, according to Trump, he was put in office was to destroy the fucking country. We're going to wait till Kamala's in there. Why? If destruction is your point, you don't have to wait for the perfect time. It's always the perfect time for destruction. Ask Russia. They're not building
the better,
anything.
If that's what you're trying to do.
Right.
I mean, he's done the worst job of destroying this country, maybe since FDR or Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah. Look at the Temu assassins, right? That's exactly it. Like, how is the deep state, this giant scary organization they make us believe, which is really just, again, them trying to sexy up the word bureaucrat because they're tired of getting around bureaucrats to get stuff in that they want to do that's unconstitutional, and they want it to be in place long enough.
They're basically implying that there's people that stay, that are there constantly, that don't leave, that of course are biased, anti-American, and these are from the people that literally run down America every day and say that we're terrible, we suck, we don't have a country anymore, we're being destroyed, and and while the other side is optimistic and looking forward and talking about our future, Kamala Harris, whatever, these guys are basically saying it's the end of America and whatever. Oh, but it's the deep state that's trying to destroy America, not us with our terrible rhetoric, not us attacking our own constituents in Springfield like J.D. Vance did. No, it's the deep state.
Yeah. And so not only is, again, this idea that like the BLS created 818,000 jobs and they fabricated them and a whistleblower let them. No, the yearly review 6 months after you release the data from the year before happens to be in July. And so they reviewed it and they went, this is our re-up for last year. And because of COVID and a myriad of other reasons, they downplayed it. If, by the way, the Biden administration and the Fed had gotten normal numbers and had those jobs hadn't been added to it, the Fed would have cooled interest rates earlier than he's going to. It would be even better for the economy because that was what they were looking for. They were looking for a downturn in jobs, but the pace of job growth, every time they saw it, made them pause longer. So if anything,
it
helped.
They didn't want inflation, so they didn't mess with, they didn't lower interest rates. I mean, these are some basic economic principles, but again, Donald Trump thinks that China pays for tariffs against it. So
that we bill them for tariffs.
So I don't know if economic principles are really his strong point.
No, and the Biden administration put out a plan this week to fix the de minimis clause in imports, because a lot of people anything that's under $800 that's shipped to a residence is covered under, it doesn't pay the import taxes that you pay for other stuff, and China's just figured that out, and they just mail cheap goods in small packages, multiple to houses.
$799.
Yeah, whatever, like bottle cap size shit you sell in a bodega, and then you sell it as, impulse buys and keychains and all that kind of shit. You get a box of it for, 20 cents each, and you sell them for $5 a piece. Well, they just ship them to a house for $799 and list them as like a lamp, and nobody looks because it's under that amount. Right. And a lot of fentanyl precursors were getting into the country early because of that, too. The Biden administration wants to end that de minimis clause, which China is flipping the fuck out of, because that's the Temu thing. Temu and AliExpress. AliExpress is like the personal bulk. It's the Sam's Club of Alibaba, in China. Like, you can
I'll
buy
just tell you, when one of my kids who are a little bit, who are teenagers now, one of them was a lot younger and was a Thomas the Train fan. We would try to get those. We got something on eBay and ended up coming from China, which I don't even think we did on purpose, but whatever. And it was like lead paint. So, I would be careful before ordering, low dollar things from anywhere in China. Just saying, they don't quite have the regulations, let's just say.
Right. So
that's my point for today.
Yeah. So again, this goes to, and I haven't checked. You know what? I haven't checked the Truth Social stock this morning. Let's see if it went up or down after down. Sorry, 1727.
It seems to be, there's different economic principles that affect the market overall, obviously, and certain kinds of stocks affected by certain, whether there are interest rates, inflation, various other measures out there. But the one truth seems to be, no pun intended, that Truth Social stock just goes down no matter what happens. It's just garbage, and everybody knows it is, and there's no real value behind it.
It's down 26% in the last month. And again, all right. This would be a good question, and you and I will have to spread it out to our followers and see if we can get a response to it. Does the Thomas Crooks, Ryan Routh plan, for the assassination of Donald Trump, does that sound like it comes from an Illuminati level smart group of families that control the wars on the planet, or does it sound more like it comes from the kind of people who create stock pictures like this?
Yeah. I'm going to go more with that.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the first World Trade Center attack level of criminal. The one who they put a bomb in a van, blew it up, and the way they got caught was he went back to get his $160 deposit back. One of the terrorists, because to try to claim the van was stolen, and over $160 these guys had gotten away, but a piece of the license plate, of course, was left there, and they traced it to this place in New Jersey they rented the van from, and they were all waiting there, and this idiot shows up and of course wants to get his $160 back, because that was more important than anything else. That's the level of intelligence it sounds like we're dealing with here.
Can I show you something real quick? I find this hilarious. Yeah. Okay, so this is the annual income statement for Truth Sinkhole. Okay, for Trump Media and Technology Group. This is before it gets entered in, before it becomes live, basically 2021. 2020 to 2021, it's sort of non-existent as this thing. But here's where it takes off. So by 2022. Its operating cost, this is the orange up here, operating expense is somewhere in the order of $12 $24 million to run the fucking place. Its operating, its income is $1.47 million. It makes $1.4 million. Its operating expense is $24 million. Its operating income, therefore, is negative $23.25
Now, I'm not a
million.
math genius, but I'm going to go ahead and say there is no positive net revenue there.
No. And they have been, here's where they currently are. Right now, the operating expense is 19. They fired a bunch of people, cut a bunch of shit, whatever. They've got, their revenue is $4 million. We know this is also this is not profit. This is simply revenue, right? There is no profit at all. It is underwater $15 million, I guess a day, whatever. And it's, what they'll do here is, look at these. I always love in stock market when they give you a green or a red, and you're like, really? It's like if a stock tumbles 99%, and then it goes up, the next day 1%. It will be green in that daily if you don't look at the week, right? And that's what
you have to look. Yeah.
Right. So Trump its growth year over year is 180%. Because there was none the year before.
It's amazing.
And I love this. They list the gross profit year over year as 3.97 million in that year, 1.42 million. It is up 180% the year after. There is no profit. This is the same number. So they're giving whatever, they're assuming revenue is profit. And how they're filing their paperwork.
Well, again, Trump tried to do that all the time with his net worth. He would just list his assets, and he'd magically forget that there are these things called debts. And if those are more than the assets, then you in fact don't have any net revenue. You don't have any money.
Right.
But I like to think beyond this and think to myself about what its purpose is. Yeah. Right? It's a disinformation avenue. Are the Russians, Chinese, who want this thing to go forward? Which investors, American right-wing investors, who obviously had to know this thing was going to lose money, or maybe they're just as stupid as Trump. But assuming they're not, we're just laundering money to Trump. We're just getting money to Trump as a way to, if he wins, then we get whatever we want.
Right.
You have to think about it from all those various angles, because clearly this thing was never going to make any money. So what was its other purposes?
This is my favorite. I think this is my favorite line in the whole thing, though, is operating income. The kitties are talking to Tara, and Tara's talking to the kitties. Hi there. We'll have her on in just one moment. Hang on for a second. Yes, I want to remind operating income growth year over year. The 2020 here it is 2022 negative $23 million. It was negative 1,315.79%, negative 1,300%. Then, hey, this is the American dream. The next year, negative $15 million, 16 really. And that's a positive of 31% growth. They've had 31% growth. Now they're only losing $15 million every year.
They're amazing. They've gone from a complete shit stack to only sort of a semi pile of shit. So they're on the upswing, baby. Get in while you can.
And the way they did that was that they rotated the kitty litter. They didn't clean it. They just took the shovel and flipped it like a pancake. So you bury some of the shit.
Well, that was after they tried to eat the cats in their defense.
That's true, right? Absolutely. On that note, Cliff Schechter, thank you so much. Let's go back to real quick over here so I can remind everybody that Cliff has a show on YouTube at YouTube.com at Cliffs_Edge. You'll see it right there on your screen if you want to subscribe to that. I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
And I will see you again next Monday, and hopefully they won't have, I don't know. At this point, Roger Stone will have to try and assassinate Trump for any of us to give a shit. It's so weird. Dude,
his long and evil career from Nixon to, Brooks Brothers riot to Elliot Spitzer to that has to be maybe the next thing that he does. You got to end it with some, he's the Penguin now, in the way he dresses, and you have to end it with some flair. So
yes, I agree. I hope not,
All right.
and we wish no political violence on anyone.
I want Donald Trump to be very healthy.
Yeah, we all want him to go to jail.
Election night. Right.
Miserable
I want him to be
and alive.
healthy enough, and I want him to be mentally as stable as possible so he can understand when the numbers come in and he's getting the shit kicked out of him.
Yep. All right. Well, thanks so much, Cliff.
All right.
And I will see you again very soon. Yeah. Cheers.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, there we go. And now I'm going to bring in the lovely and talented Tara Dublin. Let's do it here. Bang, 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 bang. There she is. 1, 2, 3. There she is. Hi. Yay.
Hi, everybody.
Hi. How are you?
What's up? What's new? Just another slow week in America where not crazy things happen literally every day, all day. What?
Yeah.
The week that we just had between the last time I talked to you and this moment is It's crazy gone nuts.
It's crazy gone nuts. You don't know.
And cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, as you said earlier, there is a lot. There was a lot. I mean, even for the news cycle that we normally live in, that a lot happened. First of all the things that we said were going to happen at the debate happened in the best way.
Yes.
Everything that we said, everything.
That is right.
One thing in particular, like you said, how he was gonna talk about Venezuela a lot. He's talking about Venezuela a lot.
A lot. Yeah.
A lot. And every time I see it, I'm like, see how there's more Venezuela over here, and then it's over here. Now it's in this tweet. Now it's in this tweet. Weird. Right. So that happened, and then this
maybe he's
goss with
Maybe he's just bringing that up. Yeah. Maybe he's just bringing that up because he's aware that he should not talk about it. He does that a lot. Like you can tell they tell him like don't say anything about this. Right. And then he does, because he's the one, again, if there are Venezuelans overstaying their visas, if there are Venezuelans overstaying after they have snuck into the country or any of that stuff, it is because Donald Trump, his last day in office, gave them a pass for a year and a half, and then then at the end of that year and a half, they went to the end of the line. So it's just
all of that, and then threatening to mass deport legal Haitian immigrants in Springfield, that they won't back down from that is unconscionable. Somebody's going to get killed because of them in Springfield, because there have been bomb threats every day. Schools are being evacuated.
Hospitals.
Hospitals and civic offices are being evacuated. There was apparently a fire set in a building this morning in Springfield. Fucking just say you were wrong. It's okay to admit you were wrong. You will not turn to dust if you say you were wrong. I've said it 3 times in a row now. Beetlejuice did not appear. Nobody died. I didn't combust. It's okay to admit that you got your information wrong. In this news cycle where everybody believes something the second it's posted, perhaps you should verify, then trust. I don't know. And considering that a woman was interviewed by NBC News, her name is Erica with a K, Erica Lee. She said, it was my Facebook post, and I'm so sorry. I did not know it was going to blow up like this. And my neighbor said that she thought it could have been because she heard the rumor. And then when the news people went to the friend she's like, I'm not really the person you should be asking about this. I'm not a reliable source. So this is all made up bullshittery, all of it. And they're digging in, and they're digging in, and they're digging in. And all of a sudden, now there's a lot of people in the corporate media calling them out on this. So that's why you get Fucko posting, I hate Taylor Swift. Okay. Okay, you're trying to distract us with that. And then this thing that happened, the second shooting near him, or have someone having a gun in proximity to his location, is essentially what happened, because he didn't shoot at him. He was shot. The Secret Service shot at Ryan Ralph.
Yeah. He never got a shot off. Right.
Any shots. Correct.
Yes.
Okay. So,
he didn't even try, which is fascinating, because if you're there to, kill a bunch of people and go out in a hail of bullets and that kind of stuff, I don't know why you wouldn't fire on the Secret Service at that point too. I mean, I guess you wait until, Trump is there, but he just basically just bugged out.
He got within 400 to 500 yards of his target. Which is a failure on Trump's team's behalf. They should have a very secure perimeter around, and they clearly don't. So, and here's the thing. I don't think this is a staged one. I think the one in Pennsylvania was 100% staged, and there's a lot of questions still surrounding that one. This one seems more like, here's your lone wolf. He's acting on his own. He might have connections to weirdos online, but first and foremost, he's not a Democrat. Not a Democrat. He's not a Haitian immigrant. He's not a drag queen. He's a former Trumper who really apparently likes Vivek Ramaswamy and Nikki Haley, and was very pro-Ukraine and was really mad at Donald Trump for not helping Ukraine because he's owned by Putin. You know, these are all of the things that we're hearing now. And what we need to do is learn how to be patient and wait for the official word from the court. Because that's where you're going to get the truth. You're going to get the truth when he's now been charged. He's going to have to testify. Someone's going to have to represent him. It's going to let the legal machinery take over here. And trust the transcripts from that, and not, you know, Donald Trump going, it was the Democrats' rhetoric that made it happen. Fuck you. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. We didn't do it again. Again, we didn't do it.
Yeah,
so,
and again, right. Even the deep state horseshit that we get.
Bad aim over there.
Yeah, I guess
they don't
it's
train
so
them very
they're
well.
terrible at setting up these plots. If the goal, if the debate, if the deep state is on, our side, they're terrible at what they're doing. If they're on Trump's side, and the deep state they've been whining about is, Trump's own entrenched people or whoever. And by the way, I am the deep state for anyone asking. If you want to know who the actual
deep state today,
I am the deep state. I may not hit
Me
bottom.
too.
I'll scrape the shit out of the sides. That's important.
I bought this shirt with my Soros money.
Yeah, as you do. So I was just going to look up Trump International. Whoops.
Trump is an international whoops. Hey, the hits don't stop a coming.
They don't. Beach. Okay, I'm going to try to find a map of this because I want to show everybody.
I already wrote about it this morning. If you want to pull it up on hillreporter.com, there is a map of the property in my article.
Right.
But they think, so that there wasn't a more secure perimeter around his golf club. But, that's nutty that this guy was able to build himself a little tiny bunker to make himself, but also that he didn't, like you just said, like the second he saw bodies moving, like he didn't open fire is miraculous. And good. It's really good. Nobody died. Nobody died. I just keep reiterating this, that nobody condones violence. We don't want you to be violent. Here's the thing. If you don't want people shooting at Donald Trump, perhaps you should join with Democrats to pass a very strict assault weapons ban that will protect your guy. Just
crazy.
It would protect everybody else. And then you wouldn't have to try to scapegoat Democrats for something that Republicans keep doing. I don't know. Why don't you try that?
That's right. So let me show you right here, folks. So this is where this is Trump's golf club in West Palm Beach. Okay, this is the area.
What a waste of land, says George Carlin. Anyway,
yeah, right. And here's the Palm Beach County Criminal Justice Complex. That's the jail that's right next to the Trump's golf course.
That's convenient.
My favorite part, and I don't know if we can see it if I have to scroll in here. This road is called Gun Club Road.
Oh, you couldn't make this up.
No, it's
a Gun Club Road and a jail.
And a jail. Yeah, so the jail is between Gun Club Road and Trump's, it's on Gun Club Road and South Congress Avenue and Summit Boulevard, which is where Trump's property is. Yeah,
gun control in Congress and Trump and Florida. It all
hilarious.
A perfect storm of ridiculous.
Now,
because this
one
is
of the things
that we live in.
And I've never really looked in, at this much just because I don't care.
And why would you prior to this? But
sure.
I'm enjoying that proximity because really he could be sentenced to that prison and be allowed maybe on weekends to go home to Mar-a-Lago and throw some ketchup at the walls and then go back.
Okay. So here's Mar-a-Lago. Okay, there's Mar-a-Lago. Let me show you this real quick.
Hey, so it's like MapQuest. Remember MapQuest?
There it is. Anyway. Yeah, here's Mar-a-Lago. And here is the flight path of Palm Beach International. So so one of the reasons why Trump's his little impromptu pressers that he did out in front where the cars drive in to Mar-a-Lago, if you've ever seen one, they're unlistenable and the audio sucks so much, is because of Planes are going over the fucking place non-stop. And there's a reason why the properties up here that Trump says this is all billion-dollar property. No, the property up here is a billion-dollar property. The property down here is billion-dollar property. But the property from here to here has been granted to the city, has been turned into public shit, has been, dead lots for a long time, or assholes like him who buy cheap super properties and don't care because they want the Palm Beach address and they bought the cheapest houses in the neighborhood and they know they're never going to sell them. This is the flight path for Palm Beach International. It's loud as fuck. So not only, that's the other reason why Trump was able to buy this fucking golf course for pennies on the dollar. Because, and can I just say, this motherfucker and his whole windmills are fucking up my golf courses. Meanwhile, this asshole buys a golf course next to a prison and an airport. What the fuck? Well,
he figures he's gonna need one or the other, because either he's gonna go to
he's gonna escape,
or Johnny Flight Risk is gonna jump on the old Lolita Express, and hightail it to Moscow. So, which I'm shocked he hasn't done that already. I am shocked he hasn't sought asylum.
That's what the weekend after the election is for.
Or with Viktor Orban, because he loves him so much, or maybe he can go to North Korea. Honestly,
seriously though,
that keeps him out of our mouths forever after, off of our social media, out of the public view. Both him and Elon Musk can go to prison together, because Elon Musk threatened assassination on Twitter. I don't know if you saw that.
Yes.
Oh, kidding. You're not funny, Leon. You're the least funniest person ever.
Right.
The least funniest person in the history of the world. I don't know why they ever put him on Saturday Night Live. That was a terrible idea. But anyway, all of these fuckos belong in prison together. And look, they have a golf course in proximity. So here's what I'm suggesting. Round them all up. Lock them up in that prison that's on the corner of Gun Club and Congress. Next to the golf course where Trump lives, and let him have a soft, y'all have to live there during the week. On the weekends, you have to be house arrest in Mar-a-Lago, and then you have to go back. I love that for them.
Yeah.
I think that could work. Then they all get locked up together and miserable forever together. I love that. Under the flight path.
Little inside story. So when my dad worked for the company that did Epcot when I was a kid, as an architect, he had an apartment on Singer Island, which is right here. It's in West Palm. It's this area right here. It's like I don't know, 8-story, side view, not even an ocean view. You could see the ocean that way, but you didn't look out direct onto it because you didn't have that kind of money ever. But there's these little shops down here. There's a Subway and other stuff, whatever, these little shops. And I would walk down this beach from the apartment building my dad was in, which is one of these, I think. My sister and I would walk down during the summers down to here to these to the shops. And just I collected Smurfs at the time when I was a kid. And so I would buy, this lady had a shop and she had all the little rubber Smurf dolls. And over time, I was collecting all of them because I didn't eat. So I would just spend my money on those. And so it's a nice area, smells like oil to me, but ton of money, especially oddly enough on this side, which is where these were all the rental properties and these were all the owners because they had the bay. They had the inside and they could look out at the water and the grounds and it was very nice at night and all this kind of shit. Okay, so this is way north of where Trump's shit is, which is down here where the airport is. And up there, we never heard the airport. I was trying to remember if there was ever a time when we were out on the beach and we saw even an airplane or heard an airplane, because that's the distance from there. And if you were going to buy something in this area, you would buy it up here. You would buy it on this part of it. If you were really fancy pants and you actually had money, that's where you do it. You would not buy it in the path of the fucking airport, and you would not buy it next to the prison and gun club estates. You just wouldn't.
The only thing that's missing is a cemetery bordering the property.
Right, really. Totally. I feel bad I didn't check. Right, I feel bad I didn't check.
Well, maybe there is one. I mean, who knows? Maybe it was built on top of an ancient Indian burial ground.
His luck, it probably was.
Would
right.
be on brand because it's the cheapest, shittiest Florida property he could find. There's a reason he chose there and not on the Gulf Coast of Florida.
Right.
You know, there's a reason for that. There's a reason. Bless you. There's a reason he didn't do it in Panama City Beach on the Redneck Riviera.
Right.
You know, so what a cheap bastard he is.
Oh,
honestly.
Yeah. Hold on.
Honestly. Bless
I don't know what I've got. I've got a kitty hair up my nose, I think. Anyways,
little snifflies. You got the Cindy Brady sniffles.
I do.
Okay.
So again, I don't want to, I've never really looked at his golf course, which by the way is not so Mar-a-Lago's not a golf residence. It's this thing right over here.
That's where he lives, and then he goes and plays.
And it's no, it's not where he lives. You can't live there. Mar-a-Lago is not a residence.
At night? Where does
he has there's an apartment in here that he uses, but it is technically a rental property, and he technically cannot be there for more than 90 days at a time. That's why he goes to Bedminster and stays up there, because it's not a fucking residence. It's not a residence. It's never been a residence.
He also closes it during the summer because it's too hot and humid and nobody can tolerate it, which is the other reason why he goes to Bedminster in the summer.
Right. So, and it smells briny, and it's in the path of the fucking airports, and it's gaudy as shit, and they don't upkeep the grounds, and it's just silly.
It's trash. It's a physical reflection of who he is on the inside. It's
exactly.
As are all of his properties, gaudy and cheap and shitty.
Right. Yeah.
You know, undercut the contractors and all of took cut corners with the construction. Right. There are probably cracks in the walls and the ceilings.
It's terrible.
Probably.
I mean, look at the bathroom. The bathroom's got a fucking a chandelier and a standard Home Depot toilet.
Of course it does. And I'm sure the roof has never been replaced. You know, all of those things. I
can't reiterate this strongly enough. Mar-a-Lago is in the path of the Palm Beach International Airport, and the Trump International Golf Club is right next to a prison and a Sky Zone trampoline park. And
you can't continue to make this up. Like, it's just more. Like, is there an old country buffet nearby?
It's $1 billion.
Is there a Hobby Lobby? You know, like, all of those things should be clustered right around that shithole. It should be all of that. Like, there should be a Hobby Lobby and a buffet, but like off-brand buffet, not like a good buffet. It should be like a really shitty buffet with really bad Chinese food and. You know, like it should be the grease buffet, and there should be like a Big Lots, and there should be a really shitty liquor store next to the guns and ammo place. Like all of it should just be clustered around. Mar-a-Lago should have like his own independent shithole industry right there.
Well, that's
I don't know why they're not taking advantage.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what. Here's a 7-Eleven. There's a guitar store called Amp Shop and Music Parlor. I would go there. Tobacco
There's always a
World.
Guitar Center somewhere.
Yeah. There's a Martino Tire Center. There's a Burger King. There's a mobile station. What more could you want? It is one of the finest golf courses in downwind from jet exhaust that you could possibly go to.
You know, who doesn't want to tee up and inhale some jet fuel?
Next time somebody tells you,
Florida.
Next time a maggot tells you that Mar-a-Lago is $1 billion property and it's worth $1.5 billion, and it's a prime piece of real estate, and he's very smart to have gotten in all this shit. I want you to go. What's the difference? What's the difference between Beverly Hills and Compton? What's the difference between Santa Monica or Venice and Compton? You want to know what the difference is? Do you want to know exactly what the fucking difference is? Compton is in the glide path of LAX.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And Santa Monica and Venice is where I want to live forever. So.
You fly over Compton and South Central. That's why everybody moved out. That's why these old gentrified houses that were very fancy in that part of town, which are giant fucking houses. They were in the 30s and 40s. They were, they were gorgeous, kind of these 30s style mansions, right? Until jet plane after jet plane full of jet fuel and tons of jet fuel and all that kind of stuff started flying over the area. That's fucking why. And so the property dropped in value instantly. Mar-a-Lago is in the Compton of West Palm Beach.
Definitely.
That's just.
I mean, Bedminster is so much nicer. Where Bedminster is much nicer. If you're going to compare.
Well, I mean, there is a cemetery on site, which is
but it's a small one, and it's a very small private.
There's not even a body in it, so yeah.
It's not even a marker. It's like you wouldn't know it was there because it's not maintained at all. So don't even worry about it. It's more about location. The proximity to Newark Airport and Teterboro is more important in that situation for Bedminster.
So this is
as well as proximity to New York City.
Also, it's the Garden State, so there's a lot of.
It is the Garden State.
Yeah, it's a lot of this grassy. Yeah, a lot of this grassy area and that kind of stuff. Here's Trenton and Philadelphia, and here's New York.
Correct.
Yeah, exactly.
Correct.
So
basically, I'll be interested to find out because eventually this Ryan Routh guy is going to talk. He's going to talk. He's going to be cross-examined. We're going to hear his reasons, and they can't blame Democrats for it. Is the bottom line, and they need to stop blaming Democrats for shit that we don't do.
Right.
We don't do any of these things that they keep yelling that we're doing, and we don't do them. And every accusation is a confession. And again, we don't want to take away your guns. We want you to stop shooting at other people with them. That's all. It's not a lot to ask. We want to make it really difficult for crazy people to get their hands on guns to kill other people. What?
Right next to Bedminster, the Lamington Black Cemetery borders. Borders the Trump Bedminster.
Nothing but death. There it is. Death surrounds him and is and that's why he's so dead inside. He lives on ancient burial grounds. It's like the old man from Poltergeist has possessed him, and he's walking around going, "Hello." He's going up to everybody's screen door saying, "Let me in." It's creepy. He's creepy. He's like Longlegs. That's a reference I'm only making culturally. I haven't seen it. But anyway, it's just all of it is fucked up. Like, if anybody in MAGA world took a moment to really look at what's going on, honestly. And I heard you telling Cliff earlier that we're gonna get more. We're gonna get more from the Russia Today, from the Russian propaganda indictment. We're gonna get more names. I'm so excited. Dave Rubin has blocked me on Twitter. It only took me a handful of tweets to get him to block me.
Yeah, I mean,
was what's up, you fucking paid Russian stooge? What you fucking buy with your $400,000 a month, you fucking Russian stooge? They don't like that. They don't like that at all. I'm gonna get Tim Cesspool, and I'm gonna get Benny Johnson and fucking Joey Magarino, who poses as a black woman on Twitter. Thank you very much. We got to get them all. We got to go ahead and all out of there, but we also got to get Leon out of there, the king of the Russian stooges.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is that his name's going to start coming up, and that will involve him losing his government contracts. And so
it's in the sealed indictment.
Yeah,
it's coming. That's why he hired that Angela Zabeta woman from Hyundai to work on. Good luck, Angela. Big mistake. Huge. You should have stayed with the car company that the cars don't blow up. What is wrong with you? Everything Elon touches, it's like the Trump thing, EETD, everything Elon touches dies. Of course, I'm only calling him Leon from now on, but he's in so much trouble. He's in more trouble than he was last week. I love that for us because this sets up Mark Cuban to come in and buy Twitter and reset it back to what it used to be before Elon fucking destroyed it. I will not give up on that, by the way. Cuban, I think Mark Cuban could really come in and do it would not be difficult to reset Twitter to what it used to be. It really wouldn't at all. And the thing that I would ask for beyond, fix the algorithm and do whatever, undo all of the shit that Elon did. And those of us who were legacy verified before he came in and made the blue check meaningless, you and me and everybody who we were verified and it mattered, give us purple check marks and leave the blue check marks to the paid subscriber people. Because that at least would start separating the wheat from the chaff. I'm here for you, Mark Cuban. I'll take just a very small finder's fee and maybe a consultation fee because we could take it back. And I think it's just a matter of time now. And we just have to be patient, just like with Trump. Just be a little more patient, shine it on for a little bit longer, and then they're gone, and we get all of our fun toys back.
Yeah,
they took away all of our nice things, but thanks to Taylor Swift, we can get some nice things back.
Yes. So the other thing I would like to point out, let's see if I think it's down. Is that it? Hold on. I think so. That's the Museum of
There's
Flight.
so much trouble. It's glorious.
Yeah.
And I really feel like they're throwing in the towel completely. Like they're not going to back down from the Haitian immigrant thing, and they're invoking the wrath of the Swifties. And it's crazy. He lost the debate so spectacularly.
Yes.
In a way that exactly in how I expected. I expected it to go pretty much exactly how it did. So, I mean, they had a catastrophic week for their campaign. Seriously, and I think that they all know it. So it'll be interesting to watch them trying to recover, but I don't think they can. What are we looking at?
So this is Trump's golf course, Trump National, not International.
This is the one in California?
This is the one in L.A. that he was just at when he gave his little speech.
You know, not all states have a Pacific Ocean, Hal. Did you know that?
I did not know that. I'm sure Iowa was very upset to find that out. That's why he's only
because otherwise
he's only ahead by 4 points.
We wouldn't know that only 4 states get the Pacific Ocean. So,
well, I have to say, okay, so Trump National Golf Club Los Angeles is the name of this place. It's actually in a place called
not actually
Ranch
in Los Angeles.
It's
right?
not only not in Los Angeles. It's in Rancho Palos Verdes Beach, which is just south of Long Beach. This is Long Beach.
Long Beach
right
is
here.
really nice.
Long Beach it's cool. It can be it's industrial down in here. It's nicer over this way.
Like you just pop up from Long Beach and then you have all of that ritzy titsy stuff along the coast. So a lot of money on that coast.
Well, Manhattan Beach is nice. Marina Del Rey, Santa Monica, all this is nice. But it's not by any means close. This is here's Malibu. This is where it's really nice. So, it starts getting
like that beautiful sweet spot between Malibu and Santa Monica is fabulous. Right. We love that. And then underneath that, it's like,
and then in Long Beach, and then you get down past Huntington Beach to Newport Laguna. All that's a very schmancy. But in between schmancy and schmancy is marginally shitty. And what he bought was this. And by the way, this is Catalina. And for any of the Trump fans who are fucking watching this dipshit, when he made reference, I guess, that you can see Hawaii. No, you can't. You cannot see Hawaii from Rancho Palos Verdes. You can see Catalina on a good day.
Wait. He said you can see Hawaii from
Rancho Palos Verdes. After his press conference, talking to a couple of reporters on the side, he allegedly
Did somebody
said,
say, "Actually, no, you fucking can't."
No, nobody said that to him. And you cannot.
What the hell?
I don't want anybody to be disappointed. Like, hey, let's drive down to Long Beach and look at Hawaii. You can't do it. Don't try.
Not even with a Sharpie can you make that happen.
No, not at all. But the point I'm trying to make is like this area, like all up here, Malibu up to Point Hume, all this stuff. Like this is very nice. Santa Monica Mountains, all very schmancy, rich, a lot of very wealthy area. And then Torrance, Long Beach, Rancho Palos Verdes, nope. And it's a public course.
Is it under a flight path?
That's yes.
An airport.
So here's the
Isn't there an airport in Long Beach?
Yes, there is. It's down over here. And I don't know if they may circle by it. But what you do see from there is the shipping areas and shipping boats going by all the time to go to here. Because that's what Long Beach is for. Yeah, so that's why, by the way, that is 100% why Terminal Island and all these places over here, 100% why Long Beach is not nice. It is downtown Long Beach area is the Compton of Upper LA, right? Meanwhile, Huntington Beach down, very nice, and Manhattan Beach up, very nice. It's like he literally goes around and he tried. You know how they say in real estate, the smartest thing you do is buy the worst house in the best neighborhood, right?
Yes.
That's location. Buy the worst house in the best neighborhood. Brilliant.
And flip it, and then make a profit. But Donald Trump is too stupid to do that.
Trump literally buys the best place in the worst neighborhood.
That's not smart business.
It's fucking dumb. It's amazing. It's so dumb. And
that's not what a successful businessman does, my friends.
No. All of his fucking properties. He's like, wow, we could buy this for... And it's his dumbass fucking kids. It's Don Jr. and Eric coming in. Dad, we can get this entire golf course. It's so fancy. We could buy it for nothing, and that should be a red flag. There are a lot of groups that buy golf that fucking, if it's a nice course, there are people that will scoop it up like groups of investors.
Right.
If they're not buying it, and they're so not buying it that you're getting it on the cheap, maybe there's a problem there.
Hey, Dad, we can buy the Manson Ranch and flip that into a resort. It's free. Let's just take the land. Nobody
buys shitholes. It's so fucking weird. And this one, okay, it's clear. Because this is Rolling Hills Estates is relatively nice. The Palos Verdes Estates is relatively nice, but it's pedestrian nice compared to Malibu or something like that. Let's be honest. It's not anywhere close. And the view, I have a friend who lived.
Calabasas.
Yeah, I have a friend who was a director, TV director. He used to do the Rose Parade and stuff like that. So he made decent money, union money for a long time, but not uber rich by any stretch. Had a house that he finally got his dream house overlooking the water. That was his thing. He wanted to find a house, and this is where he could afford it, was down here.
Yeah, down there.
Near Rolling Hills, right. And he couldn't afford it anywhere else in the area. South of here, north of here, no fucking way. Right. But here, if you want to buy a house, this is where you do it. And that's why Trump bought this. It's fucking...
He's a cheap-ass motherfucker.
He's a cheap motherfucker, and he doesn't know what he's doing. It's, god damn, it's amazing. Hold on, I want to see something real quick.
It's again and again, he shows his buffoonery to the world, and his base is like, I'm fine with all of this. I tweeted yesterday, he's like, JD Vance, we've been lying to you about everything, and then I did like the Pete Davidson Chad meme where it's like, okay. And then I'm like, they don't care.
No, they don't.
They don't care. It's so
frustrating. Not at all.
I wish I could. Dan, there's no way to make them care, which is something that I keep telling people, which is frustrating because, like, I want to know what they care about that actually matters in this world, in this country at this time. And it's nothing that they're talking about. Nothing they talk about has substance. It's all goalposts moving away from the shit that's embarrassing for them. And that's where we are today with more rhetoric. And by the end of this week, the discussion around the guy that did not shoot at Donald Trump is going to be way different than what it is today. And I'll be interested to see how, the spin, and they're trying so hard to martyr him. They're trying very hard, and, they're trying anything to try to recover from this past week. And I don't know. Like, you could get the best PR machine in the world, but I don't know how you recover from something like this. And his team doesn't take any responsibility. They don't take any responsibility. There's no way to shame them. But one thing that we are seeing finally is the corporate media going, what are you saying? What are you saying? What are you doing? So I don't know. Maybe we'll start seeing some accountability.
Yeah, I think entirely possible. So here's where I'll show you guys what I was talking about. But hold on one second. Let me bring you back on here.
I
1 second. I know it takes a second for it to switch screens. It's being very slow today because I have a lot of stuff. Okay. So all right. So this is LAX.
California, by the way. I can't wait.
I do too.
By the way, I'm all good to go for November for Los Angeles. Which
very
reminds
exciting.
me, just a moment, quick bit of housekeeping. I need Ron's contact because it did not save to my phone. And before this day ends, you must get it to me because I'm afraid he thinks I'm a flake and I'm not. I don't want to be seen as flaky. Okay.
We'll do it right after the show.
Show me.
So this is
agreement.
so just so you know, this is LAX. Okay. The pathway of LAX is out to sea this way, and in from this side. And if you'll notice, going this direction, there is Lenox, Westmont. This is where Compton generally is, right there. This is Broadway, Manchester, right down the center of all this. There's like Gage, all this area. This is because on a low path, this is the area between basically here it is, the 92. Let me scroll this out so you guys can see it. This is the 105, and up here is the 10, right? And so this whole area right here, like Watts, all that stuff, all the towns you've heard shit about over time, that's the area.
Yep.
That is the area that sucks. And in it is a lot of old, lovely shit. Not Hollywood Park Casino is there where the, this is where the SoFi Theater is, the Kia Forum, all that kind of stuff. Okay, these indoor, Intuit Dome, right? These were all out near when the airport was small. They were close in proximity, like convention center style. But LAX is so fucking gigantic now, and the planes coming and going are so gigantic. You can't have a hotel there that's worth a goddamn. You can just, have industrial places or places people go at night or go for, temporarily, right? So all the way through there, this just sucks. So here's Watts right here. Like all these places that used to be in the old days of LA, pretty rock solid, just shit. Okay?
Right.
And it's because of the jet path. It's simply because of that. So Donald Trump saw Palm Beach Airport and decided to buy something that is equivalently where this is in Watts.
Right.
Right here. That's where Mar-a-Lago is.
It sounds impressive. I have a golf club in West Palm Beach. Mm-hmm. That sounds impressive.
That's right.
You realize what's around it. And then you're like, you're a cheap ass, terrible businessman who loses money for everybody who invests with you. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah. What was Truth Social? What was their stock today? 17?
It's 17. Yeah. Hey, it's down 6
up
this month.
The other day it was 15.
Yes.
So and they were tweeting, Truth Social went up by 25%. Ooh. 20 to 17. Ooh.
Right. Yeah.
Sell.
Also, for the record, he is. There's some guess that he is planning a pump and dump after the election.
He always has been. This was a pump and dump scheme from the beginning.
Right. That he's going to sell a big chunk. So he's inflating his shares. It makes sense for him or other people that are working with him or that are involved in it with him to artificially pump the flights up. Yeah. The Inglewood area was the part where I was saying Mar-a-Lago is. Somebody's questioning my geography. I'm trying to make the point of like his spot would be in Inglewood for Mar-a-Lago.
Hair splitting. Right. Whatever.
Yeah. Point being,
point is he's a cheap ass motherfucker and he's a criminal.
Right.
He's a criminal who will be sentenced on November 26th.
That's right.
He's a criminal.
Meanwhile,
he's a rapist, convicted felon.
Yes, and he's been suggesting
to the black lady on Tuesday night.
Yes, well, that's we haven't even gotten to that part.
Come on now.
He basically said she's to blame because if I don't know, we don't even know what this asshole's reasoning is, or if he was trying to shoot at Whitlock for all we know, or if he thought he was there to help Trump. And he was protecting him because the Secret Service aren't doing their job, and he ran away because without firing a shot on them. We don't know. The point being is
we have to wait. I don't feel like this one was staged, though. I don't think this one, the one in Pennsylvania, totally. This one, no. This one, I think, it was a real lone wolf guy who did this on his own for whatever his cuckoo bananas reasons were, and maybe Republicans should also vote for a comprehensive mental health care package. I don't know. You know who had a great comprehensive mental health care bill was Hillary Clinton. It's fine. We're not going to die mad. It's all right.
And the Biden administration just added mental health care to the Affordable Care Act and a rule that establishes that insurance has to cover it.
Insurers to cover private mental health care for 175 million Americans. You're welcome. You're welcome. That's the Biden-Harris administration being effective.
So he was talking to Fox News Digital this morning. He said he, meaning Routh, I guess, believed the rhetoric of Biden and Harris, and he acted on it. Their rhetoric is causing me to be shot at when I'm the one who's going to save the country, and they're the ones that are destroying the country from both from inside and out. And also, I don't know what that means. Honestly, from both inside, they're inside.
About the Russian indictment being unsealed. Everything is projection.
Sure.
So he says Democrats are getting outside help. We're the ones benefiting from Russian propaganda, or the Soros, or the deep state, or the Illuminati run by George Soros. Every accusation is a confession. So he's very worried about what's coming from that sealed indictment and how it's connected to him. Because all roads lead right back to that fuckface. And he is not a take one for the team guy. So even if he's able to shine this on until November 26th, he's going to make sure he takes everybody down with him.
Right. My favorite part of that interview piece is this. He goes, Yeah, these are the people that want to destroy our country. Keep saying this, or whatever. And again, my question is, when are they going to get started, motherfucker? Why bother raising wages and building infrastructure and making the stuff
inflation,
interest rate, and interest rates, right? Why do all that shit?
Vaccine.
Right.
If they wanted us dead, they never would have gotten a vaccine for us.
Right. It would have been easy. Yeah, it would have been.
Let them just die out.
They could have he could have just gone to the beach and done the Trump plan, and we'd all be dead now. Right, that's the idea. So these are the people trying to destroy our country.
How many of us do you want dead? Because they couldn't have done that. They could open
Trump,
border.
They totally could have.
Let the invasion go forward. And you guys are fucking insane.
So stupid. Okay, he goes. It is called the. I love this. It is called the enemy from within. No, it's not. There's no it. Dum
you
dum.
are.
Yeah.
You're the enemy from within.
Right.
Ingrate.
Well, that's the thing. He's been accused of that.
Blight on humanity.
That's what he's been called, and he knows it, right? So they are the real threat. He added, the Democrats use highly inflammatory language. I can use it too, far better than they can, but I don't. Okay, Mr. They're eating the dogs.
January 6th.
Right. It's going to be wild. Walk down there peacefully and patriotically, but if Mike Pence doesn't have the strength to do what he's got to do, you have to fight and be strong, or we're not going to have a country left.
I'll be with you. Where was he? Where was he? Fucking hiding in the White House, shoving hamburgers in his fucking fuck face. That's where he was. He is a coward. He was born a coward. He was raised a coward. Every day of his life, he's a coward. He blocked me 9 years ago on Twitter and has never unblocked me. He's afraid of the truth about him, and he wants to shut it down, and he uses distraction and scapegoats women, particularly black women, every chance he gets, because he knows that that women are going to end him. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful watching black women end him, particularly Kamala and Fani and Letitia and Judge Tanya Chutkin. Enjoy all of your October surprises. They're going to be delicious.
Right.
Delicious.
This is where to even carry it from? So the Trump.
Oh, I know.
Trump. Okay, go ahead. Because I have the border president thing that he just started.
Because I'll have a question in a moment.
Okay.
For everybody, but you finish up your thought here. Right.
So my thing is that he's been shopping an attack on her, and none of them have worked. And he's been shopping a kind of, MAGA's kind of. It's a little hard to get a revenge chub from just saying it. They're not getting excited at all. He's got a semi at best, and it's depressing. So MAGA's just kind of losing his steam
for that. So.
Oh God, and her apparently telling some dude it was the best blowjob he ever got, and blah blah blah, ew.
Ew, what?
Yeah.
Ew, what?
Ew. Yeah.
How do you blow something that is this big? I don't know. He
I
complained that the little girls he raped gave him a bad blowjob, so I don't really know what his standards are.
Nor do I. But he's been shopping around trying to find something, right? He's trying to be, he's trying to rebrand 50 days from the fucking election. He's trying to find something that gives him a toehold on Kamala Harris. And so far, fucking nothing. He even said his Kamala thing.
Anything either.
I don't know if you saw the Kamala thing where, he was trying to equate her with the mobs, the BLM mobs. That was the idea back, when he brought that up.
Or that all she says is blah, blah, blah. No one really clarified what the Kamala was supposed to be.
Well, yeah, so Kamala...
They're fucking idiots.
No, well, Stephen Miller and those guys were pushing it on him as Kamala. She created these mobs that attack people, like riots during BLM. They were going to go for that. It's just, that's why it didn't work. It was so shitty. But he couldn't even pronounce it. He said Kambabla. I don't know if you saw that, but he couldn't pronounce. He's like, I made up a word for a kambabla, and and I decided against it. So still nothing. So he finally comes up with, I'm the border president. I want to be I want you to call me the border president. Call me the border president. And we're like, okay, first of all, his followers already do think of him in terms of Trump border. They're inseparable. Obviously, if the border's worse after your wall, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And then he kills the border bill, right? He comes up with that phrase not before he kills the border bill as a strategy. Call me the border president, and then he kills that bill because it's not tough enough. I'll be tough or whatever. There's a way to do that. It's stupid, but there's a way to do it politically that gives you an edge. And even that he fucked up. Even that.
Stupid. And he's surrounded with stupid people.
That's right. He's terrible at this. So, sorry,
and
you were going to say.
Calling him stupid is an insult to stupid people, if I might quote a fish called Wanda. Okay.
Yes. Fuck fake. Asshole. Dickhead. You are a true vulgarian, aren't you? Yeah. So go ahead.
Anyway. All right. So we're running out of time here already.
Yes.
And I have a question for you as a person.
Yes, by the way, I am making my way through your wonderful book, The Sound of Settling by Tara Dublin, where I have a copy of it right here that I can actually show up close.
And it's there.
Yeah, right.
You really did start reading it?
Yes, I did. At taradublin.com.
TaraDublinRocks.com.
Sorry, did I say that? Yeah, TaraDublinRocks.com. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Sorry, and you were really saying.
This thing is bad publicity. Thank you. This week has also been, for me personally, very weird because all of my friends are treating me like I'm the Dave Grohl whisperer. And I can explain away what the fuck is going on. I don't know him anymore. I haven't spoken to Dave Grohl since 2009.
Sure.
And the news about him this week was like, a what? Now, here's this. I have known forever that Dave Grohl is a cheater. I have known that. He has cheated on every partner he has ever had. Not me. I'm not his partner, never have been, never did anything with him. So grateful. So grateful that I never exchanged any body fluids with him because now I would be out of my mind if I did that. But I'm so glad that I never did. Which is why this book happened, because he had an internet crush on me. Now it seems kind of creepy. Maybe he was stalking me online because he knew my name before we ever met in 2001, before there was social media, which is the basis for how the couple meets in this book. But then there are things in this book that have crossovers in real life and intentional Foo Fighters Easter eggs. But the longer this book exists, the more it has crossovers in real life. And I wrote this 4 years ago. I wrote it 4 years ago and released it last year. So it's craziness. It is crazy going nuts. And okay, so I've always known he's a cheater. And there are things that I know that I have never said publicly because out of respect for his family, for his wife, for his daughters, I will still never tell them again. Not about me, but just things that I know. So here we are now. And the nicest guy in rock has cheated on his wife. That's not news. But the baby outside of the marriage is something I never would have expected for him specifically. I would think, because he's 55, it hasn't happened before that we know. It may have happened and we didn't know. But this we know, but I don't want to know this. I don't want to know, but we were going to find out either way. Like if it wasn't him telling us, it was going to be TM.
Sure.
So here I'm now left with watching this happen because first of all, he was having a rough summer because he said this shit about Taylor Swift. But then he redeemed himself because he was going to sue Donald Trump for using My Hero. That was a redemption arc. But then this happened. And people are saying if you fuck with Taylor Swift eventually, karma.
Sure, there's voodoo involved. I would also say, I would also say that this times out to the sort of dealing with what's your life about after your friend dies period where a lot of reassessment goes on and people seek comfort in an uncomfortable situation all over the place.
Yes. And he lost his mom and Taylor within 6 months. So
yes. Right. So that's that in and of itself, that's enough.
Excuse.
That's no.
It might explain it. So, but here I am walking around with this shit on my arm, big as day. Bigger than I had intended, but I was grieving when I got it because Taylor had just died. Wait,
I don't see a problem with it. Still,
people are. There's the camp.
Is it rocks? Oh wait. Hold.
Cancel.
No. And I'm like, no. First of all, Rockstar not a priest. None of my fucking business. Up to him to deal with his emotional issues, and I don't know the ins and outs of the relationship that he's in the first place, whether it was on the outs or it was a problem or whether there was other stuff going on. It's none of my fucking business. And it has nothing to do with whether I'm like, okay, Jesus Christ, Dan Aykroyd stole Paul Stanley's girlfriend in the late 80s from him. And Paul Stanley was, yes, they were dating when
Paul Stanley. Fuck yeah, Dan. Fuck yeah. Do that. That's
yes.
the average guy stealing a hottie from a rock star.
But the problem was at that point, yes. Right? But he was on a high of making movies at the time, and you talk about like monkey branching, right? That was during a flagging era where Kiss, in the non-makeup era, previous to the comeback, where they started making real big money again. Always, made a ton of money. But I didn't hold that. That wasn't Dan Aykroyd's fault. It's not even her. None of my fucking business. It's not her bit. Like, I don't care. I don't care. But also, right, is the point.
Again, not news that a rock star was catting about. Not news at all. And there, again, things that I know that I'm never going to tell. But again, it's the not being protective of himself and his family that is concerning, because as I know him to be, he is a good girl dad. He a really good girl dad. He's good. And now he's got a fourth one. That might be the universe being like, ha. And I will say, I don't think that I have any power whatsoever. But back when I found out that they were having their first child, I was like, oh, I hope it's a girl. I hope the karma comes and revisits him and he only has daughters. And maybe it'll make him wake up to the way he's been treating women his whole life. And maybe he'll start treating women better. That was my hope. And apparently not. Apparently.
Well, wait. Hold on. But that's different though, too. Again, like I said, there's.
It doesn't change a shit. It doesn't change a thing. It changes nothing. Has nothing to do with me. I will say his PR team was very smart to drop it on debate morning. He only trended for a little while, and then his name disappeared from Twitter, because between the debate and the 9/11 stuff the next day, people were like, Dave who? Although if you go to TikTok, everything is Dave. Like a lot of people trying to figure out who the baby mama is, and everybody's got a theory, and there was a fake baby mama post. Don't fall for that. Eventually, we're going to find out who she is. I'm happy to wait. I have my own theory.
Okay.
Oh, no. Eventually, we're going to find out who she is. Like, they can't hide her forever. Eventually, we're going to find out who she is. I have a theory as to who she might be, but I don't trade in conspiracy theories, and I don't want to spread gossip. So here's what I'll say. If it turns out to be who I think that it might be, I will confirm that in the future when we find out. But the bottom line is that you should buy my book, The Sound of Settling, because it's full of Foo Fighters Easter eggs, which will have you wondering, is this real? Did that really happen? Is this a thing? Does she know? What else does she know? Because I know a lot. And it's just, and here's the other thing. I want to offer, and I don't know who can help out with this at this point, maybe Caleb, because he has a connection to Foo Fighters. Dave Grohl is going to, at some point very soon, need a redemption arc. He just is. He's going to have to go back out into the world and redeem himself, because he's got to be the nice guy. He's got to be the nice guy.
I don't know. No, I got to say, I don't think he does. I think we've got to mind our own business, and this is not abuse. He's not accused. Again, it's rolling on your partner is a totally different thing than he doesn't, like, this is not a Cosby situation or anything even remotely close. And so therefore it is the interpersonal relationships of somebody else. And it's not only that I don't care, it's that I'm offended at the notion that I should. That this should take up any of my hard drive space at all.
Absolutely. And again, I hope that his family gets the privacy that they need. I hope that they're getting help and therapy, and that they can find, because it's my understanding that his two older daughters, they had to scrub their social media. They're not speaking to him. He's not in the house. Like, I'm hearing dribs and drabs. Like, I don't know how great a source Perez Hilton is, but it doesn't matter. The whole point is that you should buy my book. But again, eventually, he is going to have to come back out into the public. And the court of public opinion will matter to other people. Perhaps not to you. Perhaps not to me. Perhaps, and there are people who are like, he's a good person. He just did a bad thing. Or, again, whatever. You know how they could really boost his public appeal and create a redemption arc is for him to finally fucking publicly admit that I gave him the idea to write times like these. And then he could do right by me. Seriously, he could do right by me as a fan and as a female. What he should have done all the way back 22 years ago when he wrote the song, should have given me credit. A fan saves the Foo Fighters would have been a great story. Back in 2003, it would have been a great story, Dave. But now,
see, I think I
I
gotta say it's not gonna be. It's not gonna be. Yeah, it's not gonna be anywhere.
Happen.
It's not gonna be anywhere near a story because of what happened with Jane's addiction. Sorry, but everything got drowned out by what happened.
That's a fun story too.
It's fucking gross.
I don't know if you know this, but Dave Navarro is a shitty anti-vax guy, which is something I only found out recently.
He's very curious.
Disappointing because I used to crush on Dave Navarro really, really hard.
For sure, that was his entire image. I've only met him,
but
I met him twice. I was on his podcast with my band, and I played live, and then I like at some other event someplace. Anyways,
was he shitty to you? Was he
no,
shitty?
no, he was gracious and friendly and nice and whatever. He was like
Dave Grohl hates Dave Navarro. Taylor Hawkins hates
Farrell,
Dave Navarro.
right? But Perry Farrell, the one time I ran into him was it's this is a curious thing. There is a group of people that view themselves as outsiders in the world, and in like perennial outsiders. Like I'm the edgy outsider crowd, and there's a lot of alt comics that are like this too. That were like, we weren't part of the cool kids in school, therefore we're the outsiders or whatever. When in reality, they just opined, they coveted what the popular kids had, and as soon as they get into a position of power over anyone, they're even shitty. They're like operating this on a cartoonish level how they thought these kids acted in high school towards them when those kids largely probably just didn't even know they existed. They weren't dicks. It gets so fucking big that they're just assholes to everybody. They become the worst kind of divas in this like revenge tour against it. And there's a bunch of, like I said, in the alternative comedy world, it's gross. It's so fucking gross.
Entitlement that they
front
with, and it's
so,
and
you're like,
and you can
and you're supposed to be.
And
it's one thing if you're supposed to be like a diva or whatever, and you're walking around in fucking Lady Gaga outfits or something. You almost expect it, although she's very nice and affable insofar as I know.
Yes.
Same thing with like Katy Perry. These people who are walking around in crazy outfits all the time seem to be really nice by comparison. But it's
like
these
Chapel Roan seems really cool.
Right. But there's a group of people who kind of view themselves as like, I'm not a rock star. I'm just, I'm just a kid from a bedroom telling my truth on a notepad that turned into lyrics and people do it, and I'm a true artist or whatever. And then you meet them in person and they're just pricks. They're just nasty to they mistreat their assistants. They're bad to their bandmates. They're fucking mean in general. And Perry Farrell always struck me as one of those, no pun intended, always struck me as one of those kind of people. Like he always viewed himself as an artist amongst all this stuff and an alt rocker who
was that sort of, I operate on another plane that is above where the rest of you operate.
Yes.
And that makes I can just behave as oddly as I want to. And
which means rude, which translates to rude, not oddly. Because odd is one thing. In his case, I mean.
Odd is, and I live in Portland, so I'm used to odd. I'm used to odd musicians posturing. I'm used to odd musicians posturing, wearing weird clothes. I'm used to all of that. And so when I met Perry, and I met him forever ago because it was the mid-2000s, he was lovely to me. Mm-hmm. And, my personal experience was a positive one. Mm-hmm. So that was my personal take. But then, then you hear stories about after, like watching him beef on stage while you drink a whole bottle of red wine every show. So that's one reason why you might have it, but we don't know what's going on between the two of them.
For those of you who don't know,
surprised.
But
it's not the first time they've had a problem. That band has broken up and gotten back together and replaced people and moved people around. Yeah. And Dave Navarro doesn't get along with anybody in the bands that he's with, which is why he doesn't stay in bands very long. Ask the Red Hot Chili Peppers. So I love talking about music more than politics any day.
Well, we'll get there eventually.
Maybe, but yeah.
So no more. They have officially. Just for the record, they have officially canceled after Perry Farrell physically attacked Dave Navarro.
The rest of the tour?
He punched Navarro and then shoulder checked him, and then when Dave turned to him and it looked like tried to de-escalate, he punched him. He tried to punch him. He missed and hit him in the shoulder.
It's a shame that they fucked it up because a lot of people really were excited to see Love and Rockets.
I gotta say, again,
I would have.
I gotta say, wasn't a they. Like, I like for all of Navarro's issues or whatever, this is 100% on Perry Farrell. Like, this is gross.
But again, maybe they beefed before the show.
Doesn't matter.
Maybe they
I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I know,
you don't. They didn't.
Don't do
they
it
were
on
not.
stage.
No, there was no. Nope. There was no physical altercation before they went on stage. None of that stuff. And if you start a physical altercation, that's an order of magnitude higher. This goes to our kind of. Well, what a good way to bring the show to a close. But talking about like political violence and rhetoric and the difference between somebody saying Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. And Donald Trump saying they're trying to destroy our country by poisoning the blood of our country. There's a very
we're not doing that.
No, right. And it's very distinct. And none of us are looking for Donald Trump to get shot. I want him to survive the election and lose, and then go through a bunch of court cases and have 3 square meals a day on the taxpayer in a gray 7-by-9 foot cell. Right. That's it.
I mean, that's what we want. What we end up getting, who knows? But what I appreciate is that what we're going to get between now and the end of November, because yes, the election, and I'm sure that sexy liberal show the Saturday before the election is going off the chain.
Oh
which
my
means
God!
There's going to be a Nerd Halen show the night before, which means Caleb needs to invite Dave Grohl to the Nerd Halen show. But anyway. It's he is going to lose by such an embarrassing landslide that none of his fake electors can be like, we're not going to certify this.
Donald Trump and on that note, Donald Trump has gone from an 18-point lead in Iowa to within the margin of error.
Right. And within the margin of error in Texas, within the margin of
Florida.
We can flip Florida, we can get Georgia, we can get North Carolina.
He's in the process of fucking up Ohio.
Quit. But one of his top volunteers quit because he said that they have no path to victory in New Hampshire. So if they're seeing that in New Hampshire, that's going to trickle down, and we're going to see it in, Pennsylvania. It comes down to Pennsylvania. There's one district in Arizona that needs to be flipped, and then Wisconsin, Michigan, and all of those are in play. And where are Harrison Walls? They are in the battleground states. They are going over and over the battleground states, while the rest of their surrogates are hitting the rest of the country. Dougie Fresh was in Florida, and their surrogates are going all over the country to talk not just about the election, but to talk about reproductive rights and talk about the things that actually matter to the voters, instead of being like, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, they're eating Democrats, the cats. They're eating the dogs. Right.
And they aren't. They are not.
No.
It's so ridiculous, and everyone should truly be embarrassed. And I will leave you with this thought. Let's say somebody said, hey friend, I thank you for inviting me to dinner. Can I bring my buddy with me? And your friend would say yes, and said, well, I should let you know that the person I want to bring to your house for dinner where your children are is a convicted felon with a history of rape. Can I still bring him over? Would you let that person in your house?
Right.
If that person wasn't named Donald Trump? Because that's who Donald Trump is. He's a convicted felon with a history of raping women and children. Would you let that person in your house if their name was not Donald Trump? I'll just leave you with that. I'll let you ruminate on that one.
And on that note, I wouldn't. I already knew enough. I already knew enough about Donald Trump that I didn't like those other details. Wouldn't be necessary for me to say no. You cannot bring him.
You and but I'm saying out of context.
The average person, yes.
Bring a convicted felon with a history of rape over to your house. Most people would say no. Most people would say, no, thank you. I don't want that in my house. But it's Donald Trump. Oh, well, okay. I'll make sure the McDonald's is warm.
Yep.
Come on now.
Yep. You guys are wonderful. Thank you so much, Tara, for being on. Thanks to Cliff as well. Tara Dublin rocks. Get the book today. I will see you guys this afternoon for the regular live stream, which will be full of
send me Ron's contact information.
I will.
Don't forget.
I will as soon as we're done. And then this afternoon there will be a ton of stuff where the right wing says they a lot. They, them are trying to. Apparently, assassins all have they, them pronouns. All right, we'll see you later. Thanks so much. Thanks, Tara.
Love you guys. Stay safe. Bye bye.
Bye. Cheers. See you later. Off we go. All right, I'll see you guys this afternoon. We do this still talking button. Totally. You gotta love that delay with some folks. It's a good time. All right, much love. Talk to you guys this afternoon. Hit that like, share the show. Good Lord, I've already seen how Beck has reacted to it. I'm sure we will see more of that by the afternoon. Oy.